thanks for coming in to be with us on this session. It's really a pleasure to be having you here and to help us understand what this word that we are hearing these days called coaching is all about, to demystify it for us.
I should acknowledge you for inviting me, and thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, so you're most welcome, Bhaskar. So I'd like to ask you a few questions about coaching and see if we can also get to do a bit of a demo of this coaching in this session to understand what coaching is all about. So first of all, let me ask you to start at the beginning. What is coaching?
That's a good question. Thank you so much for asking that introductory question on what is coaching. Right? For a person who hears this for the first time, especially if you are from India or any of the Asian countries, coaching could mean correcting. And you will find a lot of institutions within India calling themselves as coaching class, right? Where adult student goes in to score more marks. But coaching in the new context is more about a successful leader to become even more successful. It's a conversational technique where a coach and a coachee engages in a meaningful, thought-provoking conversation where the coachee identifies his or her personal and professional potential. So it's a simple conversation technique where powerful questions are being asked by the client, asked by the coach, which the client would not otherwise ask himself or herself. So it's an opportunity for the client to see how others see him or her. So that's the brief about what coaching is.
So coaching is this definition of coaching that you're talking about different from the other flavors or the other definitions that we typically hear about? For example, you have tennis coaching, you have sports coaching. Tennis, when you talk about tennis, I mean sports coaching. Then you have coaching in the context of helping students to get more marks in college. So you have coaching for IITs and all the entrance exams, medical and IIT entrance exam, or IAS, right? Then you have coaching in the context of maybe more of talking about, say, I coach this guy to do better in life. Where does that fit in with this? Is this different? How did this all start?
Good question. Sports coaching is quite different, but the roots are from sports, right? What happens in these different types of coaching that you spoke about, where the coach becomes a subject matter expert, where the coach, he or she, knows more than the client. So if I have to use my hands to give you a metaphorical example, a mentor or someone, a trainer or a consultant, knows more than the client. So the knowledge flows from upper place to a lower one. So that's how these professions work. Whereas a hire for fixing something, you have a plumbing problem at home, you just call an expert only for that aspect, pay him or her, then you move on with your life. But the client has got more resources, and the person comes in to fix something, but the client has got more power. Right? Whereas in coaching, you will find a partnership approach. So as a coach, I need not be a subject matter expert in what your business you're dealing with. If you are a CEO, I don't need to be a CEO or have an experience of being a CEO. However, I need to have a skill on asking questions, listening carefully for the intent as well as the words spoken, and ability to ask direct questions which you would otherwise may not be in a position to ask. So that's how coaching is a more of a partnership approach. All the other forms of coaching that you spoke about could stem from place of knowing, place of expertise.
So effectively what you're saying is that the other forms that I talked about are typically expert to a novice, knowledge flowing, instruction flowing from an expert to a non-expert or a novice.
Right.
Whereas this coaching that we are talking about, though it uses the same word, has a very different meaning.
Absolutely.
Because obviously we are hearing this in the context a lot about business, right?
Right.
As a new tool that has come into helping people to go from where they are to something to where they want to be, from wherever, even if they are doing. Is it typically for people who are not doing well, or is it meant to help people to go from even if they are doing well in life?
That's a wonderful question. Typically, coaching works for people who are already successful to become even more successful. Right? Again, let me use my hands to explain a construct. So, if you take here and now in the middle, and to your left is the past, and to your right is the future. Right? Coaching is a skill, helping skill, which helps you move from here and now to the desired future that you want to go. Your aspired future. Whereas there are place for other helping skills like counseling, which believes that the problem that you are facing in the here and now, the answer could lie in the past. So you have to go to the past, solve it out or fix it, so that you can unclog or unclutter your journey and move ahead with confidence.
Right.
So each of these helping skills has its own place. Whereas coaching, I find it more energizing because it doesn't go to the past or try to fix people. It's about with a basic belief system. The client is more resourceful, is already successful, has got all the resources to succeed, and as a coach, I look at that relationship as a partnership.
Right.
Right. Where I help the person identify the potential and what he or she has in store for the future.
Right. Good. So now, typically, when you talk about successful people going from being where they are as successful people to becoming more successful. So if I can borrow this cliche, they say good to great.
That's right.
Would that exemplify what coaching can do?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. So typically, who are the people who seem to be using coaching? When you talk about successful people, I can say, for example, any CEO of a company, would a CEO typically use a coach?
Wonderful question. If you go to Google and search for Eric Schmidt, the chairman of Google, he talks about how coaching is very important for everyone. Right?
Eric Schmidt,
the
CEO of Google, you mean?
That's right.
Oh, okay.
And he goes on to narrate how he got introduced to coaching from someone where he asked the same question. I'm a successful CEO. Why do I need coaching? Right? And then he tries out coaching and he defines coaching as a tool to see yourself from a third person point of view, which you don't get that opportunity every now and then. So as your question goes, yes, coaching is for successful people to be even more successful. It's a good to great journey, and more clients come from corporate background who have reached the top of the hierarchy of an organization, the CXO level clients. They seem to benefit a lot through coaching. However, doesn't mean that others don't benefit. They do benefit, and coaching is a skill or a profession for everyone in the organization to go to places where they have never been to realize their own hidden potential. Right? Just to add on to what I want to share about who could be a potential beneficiary of a coaching. It could be a housewife. It could be someone who's got a small and medium business. It could be someone first-time entrepreneur, right? A family-owned business owner. It could be anyone who wants to do things differently, who wants to move forward and progress in their life.
Okay. So, do I understand right that coaching is not just for corporates, but it can also be for people, very diverse set of people can benefit from coaching. So which could be housewives, it could be a small businessman. It's not only the CXOs and the large corporates, though you gave the example of Google, but even small businessmen or family-owned businesses could benefit immensely from coaching.
That's right.
Now, how does your experience bear out this? You've been a successful coach with a good track record, right? Of having a lot of several hundreds of hours of coaching under your belt. Now, who have typically been your coaching clients or coachees?
Yeah, so I should acknowledge at this point in time that I got an early opportunity in my career to get trained as a coach, and I should also acknowledge my bosses who put their faith on me in saying I could benefit from getting trained as a coach and offer my services. Over the period of say 4.5 to 5 years now, increasingly I am seeing different types of clientele seeking coaching services. I could also quote examples from my experience of coaching a housewife who is 58, coaching a couple who is serving the notice period, and also experience where a client of mine who recently lost very near and dear from family, and trying to cope with work pressure and trying to find a identity and purpose in life. So you find a lot of people coming from different walks of life. Also coach CEOs and their direct reports. I do one-on-one coaching as well as team coaching. So what I see as pattern, it's not who you are, right, that matters. How you look at the challenge that you are facing at that point in time. Coaching helps you to see yourself as a resourceful person who could take charge of the situation, see different options that was existing until that time, and a coach helps you to uncover more options, right, which you never thought of earlier. And then during the conversation, you will zero in on 1 or 2 options which are more realistic for you, right? And mind you, coach also challenges the client, right? There are some self-limiting beliefs which are holding us back. We are not aware of it. So in a coaching conversation, those things come up naturally. And being a third party, as an observer, as a coach, I could see that you are being held by a prisoner by your own self-limiting beliefs. So I bring it up to your notice. Once that comes out in the conversation, insights pop up.
Right.
And the client picks up these insights, and there is a way forward that emerges in that conversation. So if I have to take a metaphor of a gym instructor, right? So if you want to go to with a goal to a gym, either to reduce your waistline or to increase your muscles, or to improve stamina, you're getting ready for a marathon, whatever you want to achieve by joining a gym, you will typically go to a gym instructor, and he or she would ask you more questions on your goal and then prescribe a diet regime and an exercise regime. You follow that to the T, right? A gym coach will not do that weightlifting for you or run the treadmill for you.
Right.
You have to do it yourself.
Right.
The same principle here in coaching.
Right.
So I don't do the weightlifting for my client as when I'm coaching. They do all the weightlifting.
Okay.
So the area where the conversation is more powerful is when the client comes with an open mind, right, and willing to submit to the process of coaching. Right. And there is a mutual chemistry between client and the coach.
Right.
So the bedrock of coaching relationship is confidentiality.
Right.
So when you enter into a coaching engagement, typically there is an agreement that is drawn where I commit to my client saying whatever we discuss will remain confidential. Right? It works really wonderful. If you take a situation of a CEO, right, it's a very lonely job. Believe me, many CEOs have admitted that, saying at the top you feel lonely,
Right.
You can't share your innermost fears
Right.
without being judged by your own team members.
Correct.
So whom do they talk out, loud?
Mm-hmm.
To the coach.
Oh.
And when they talk aloud and when their innermost fears come out,
Mm-hmm.
new insights come clearly for them.
Right.
So they bring a lot of clarity at the end of the session, and that helps them to restructure their thoughts
Right.
and create an action plan.
Wonderful.
So like in the gym metaphor that I told you, end of the coaching conversation, the client comes out with the action plan
Right.
where the coach pushes back 2 or 3 times to ensure the client is committed to the action plan.
Okay.
And then the conversation ends with a mutual agreement to meet on a particular day or a time, and then the conversation is concluded.
So effectively, what you're saying is that in a coaching conversation, a lot of the work is done by the coachee or the client.
That's right.
The coach only kind of helps the coachee to do his own mental gymnastics to come up with his answers.
Fantastic.
And you're also saying that it is action oriented, so there is some action and results. It's results focused, action oriented conversation.
Perfect.
Is that what I hear you? Do I understand you right?
Perfect, Krishna. I think you summarized it really well. It's not only a coffee conversation, without any action plan or a result. There is a performance focus. There is a goal orientation.
Mm-hmm.
You start with a goal. You enter into a conversation. You explore all the options that are available for you.
Mm-hmm.
And a typical coaching conversation always has a challenge faced by the client.
Right.
Right? And once let me take a very different parallel of a Bollywood movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If all goes well, the movie doesn't sound or feels nice. There should be a villain.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a challenge faced by the hero.
Mm-hmm.
After overcoming all the adversity, and the hero finds his place in the life of heroine, then there is a happy ending.
Right.
So typically in a coaching, there is a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the challenge is outside your control. Sometimes it could be your self-limiting belief. A coach helps to identify these challenges through a conversational technique by asking powerful questions.
True. So are you then saying that you can deploy coaching in almost any situation, or are there situations where you cannot use coaching?
Oh, that's a very good question. I normally share a metaphor to my clients. If you have a toolbox,
Right.
and you have hammer as the only tool,
Right.
every problem that you encounter will look as if it's a nail for you.
Mm-hmm.
So coaching is not a panacea. It's not a only tool that you should have in your toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
You should have many other tools.
Mm-hmm.
Different situations demand different interventions.
Right.
Whenever you have a situation where you want to empower the other person,
Mm-hmm.
coaching is the right solution.
Okay.
To give a very extreme example, when a flight is crash landing,
Mm-hmm.
the pilot does not do a democratic vote taking,
Mm-hmm.
from the passenger on how to land the flight.
Mm-hmm.
He or she knows how to do
Handle
the
the
procedures.
crisis.
Yeah. So that's how.
His expertise is the
correct.
big thing there. That is the thing that decides what is to be done, not democracy.
That's right.
Right.
So coaching has its own place.
But if we were a nice picnic group, we might
Yeah.
use a democratic process to figure out which places to see if we have limited time.
True.
Right? Figure out who likes what.
That's right.
So you're saying that coaching can't be used in all situations.
Yeah, and as I said, whenever you have a situation where you have a need to empower the other person,
Right.
it's a very good technique that you could try on.
So for example, if you look at, say, in a typical corporate scenario, we hear about nice words that we come across. You have coaching, you have consulting, then you have something called counseling. These are words that I have heard.
Right.
Now, will it be possible for you to just give us an example, and we can just quickly pop into a situation
Sure.
right away, if possible. Can I
Sure.
do that?
Please do
Right?
Yeah.
And I'll probably give you a situation and tell me, what would you do if you were consulting with me?
Sure.
And it's a life situation. It's not even a corporate situation. It's a life situation. So if you were consulting with me, or if you were counseling me, or mentoring me, giving me some mentorship and advice,
Sure.
versus what would you do if you were coaching me?
Sure. And two things I want to mention. I don't know what challenge you are going to throw at me. Let me take it on. And second is each profession has its own place and utility. Right? We are not glorifying coaching and demeaning other professions. As I said earlier, you should have all the toolkit in your toolkit. Right? So let me take on the situation and see how in different professionals would approach this.
Okay, so let me give you a live situation. Now, personally for me, I'm overweight. I need to get exercise. Okay, and when I talked to the doctor, he said the best thing for you is to go out for a walk, not so much a jogging or heavy gymming, but just go out and get walk for about maybe 30-40 minutes a day.
Okay.
Now, it seems like a very normal thing to do, it seems like a very easy thing to do, but it's all, as the saying goes, it's easier said than done. I've tried it, cursed myself for not getting up early enough to go for a walk in decent time, and that went on for quite some time, and then as a matter of fact, I had a conversation, in fact I'm going to give you a pretty tough coaching topic, because I actually had a coaching conversation with a fellow coach to say that what can I do to actually break out of that log jam. I need to go out for a walk, but I'm not able to kind of get myself to do it.
Right.
So will coaching help? And he said yes, and I said can we get into a conversation. We did that, and it turned out that what really would get me going on a morning walk was if there was someone out there at the door knocking on my door at a particular time in the morning. I can't avoid going out because he's waiting there. Not going out will mean disappointing this guy and losing face. So we did that for some time, but then obviously it's not very sustainable. Right? I can't expect someone to be there at my door, and one of my friends was willing to come and do that and then go out for a walk with me. So it worked for some time, but after some time it just kind of drifted off because he had to go out of town and something like that. Now in a scenario like this, how would you say, what would be if you were consulting or mentoring me or giving me advice, how would that happen? Can you give me an example of that?
Sure.
And if you were coaching me in a situation like this, how would you coach me?
Let's try that.
Alright.
So I got the situation. Your doctor has prescribed you for 30 minutes walk every day.
Yeah, a half hour to 40 minutes of walk every day. Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So, hi Krishna.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here, Bhaskar.
So you seem to be dull. What's happening?
Well, actually missing my morning walk, which kind of gives me the pep for quite some time these days.
Oh, okay. So why do you miss morning walk?
I've never been able to get it done.
Come on. You are a very disciplined guy. I know you. What happened?
Discipline went on for some time, and then we kind of broke off. So it just broke off. I mean, the habit just fell by the wayside.
Have you tried keeping alarm on your mobile?
Yeah, but you know what happens with alarm, right? So alarm normally switch off and then go back to sleep.
So what about your wife? She can wake you up.
Yeah, she can, but then all well-meaning things, if they're not pleasant, I'll ignore.
Ask her to pour a bucket of water.
It will work for some time. Yeah, somehow you somehow reluctantly get up. You give excuses. But never worked actually.
But she can be a pretty good influencer,
Yeah, she did, and she did try, and it worked. But then it did not work in a sustainable way.
Okay.
Meaning that it will work once in a while. It will work some days not. But where I'm coming from is that how can I make it into a habit?
Okay. So what else have you tried?
Well, because the doctor said morning walk, I tried the morning walk. That's what I tried.
So where do you walk?
I don't know really. Yeah, because there was a nice, garden park near my house. So I used to go there, not very far, like about 5 minutes walk from my place.
Okay.
Go there, and then there was a nice walking path. So I tried that, and we also tried. And then I had my friend who was walking along with me. We tried to go in the locality itself, quiet and peaceful in the morning. So we'd go there.
So have you tried joining a club, morning walkers club or something?
Well, there is nothing like a morning walkers club in our area, Otherwise, if that was there, maybe I would have tried that. But there is nothing like that. There's a laughter club, but there's no walkers club, unfortunately.
Okay. Why did you start one?
Starting one again, see, the point is first and foremost, somebody has to be a consistent walker to start a walkers club. Now, if I start
you start one, you become the president of the club. I'm sure you will have.
But first, I have to get up in the morning, no? Where will I get up in the morning?
Get the group members to call you.
But then first and foremost, if I am not there, there is a group to be formed. That will never work, Bhaskar, let me tell you.
So why don't you do a campaign in the neighborhood? Find someone who has got the same problem and create a group.
But how will I know who has got the same problem?
You have to talk to them, right? You have to talk to them.
But how can I talk to them?
Do you have a society, kind of community club?
No, we don't have any strong society or a community or a club anywhere in our neighborhood. But there's nothing like that. I mean, I can't go and say, I can't just generally go and knock on the door. What you're saying is go and knock on people's door. How can I do that?
I mean, you can find someone the laughter club.
See, they are busy with their work and their activity is laughter. I can't go and interrupt them. They will say, you join the laughter club. Then what?
Do you want to walk or not?
I want to walk, that is for sure, no doubt.
Then you have to do something.
No, I know I have to do, but the question that I am coming to you for is that what should I do?
Okay, so let's take a break here.
Okay.
So what happened? What did you observe?
See, of course, you are trying to give me solutions, but those will not work.
Okay. What is
you are giving all the ideas and all the suggestions are well-meaning. I understand that, Bhaskar, but see, the point is they are not so practical because you see, every one of those solutions has some problem.
Okay. Okay.
So you have to really understand this at at a different level. If you need to give if we need to come up with a good solution.
So what kind of emotions evoked in you when I kept interrupting you and giving you more and more inputs?
See, because you are a friend, I was able to take it. But see, normally what happens when you give this kind of advices, at some time I was welcoming it, but after some time I honestly felt that you're not really understanding my situation.
Good.
And so what happens then is that you kind of wonder, this guy is saying something with a good meaning, but at the end of the day it has no impact on me.
Have you wondered why did I bring it up to him, this situation?
Yeah, after some time I realized that perhaps I'm burdening you with something which, it's not taking us anywhere. So we're just getting into a conversation, you're giving some ideas, well-meaning. I brought it up. I asked you for an idea and you gave some well-meaning ideas, but at the end of the day it was not very productive, to be very honest. If you look at it very dispassionately and objectively, it wasn't so productive.
So that's what this monkey does.
What's about this monkey now?
So metaphorically, this is a challenge or a problem that you bring onto the conversation.
I see. Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So if you notice, the monkey was with you when you brought the problem to me. And slowly after I started interrogating you, the monkey shifted to my shoulder and I started solving your problem.
Okay.
Right? This is typically how a non-coaching conversation would go. Right? And typically, even in a friendly conversation, you could have a coaching approach.
Right.
And I like the way you mentioned, you don't understand my problem. That's a feeling you got, right?
Right.
So let's see how a coaching conversation is different.
Right.
From what just happened now. Right. So let the monkey be with you.
Okay. So the monkey is back to me.
Feel the monkey and.
Right. Okay. Good. So here goes this nice little monkey. Yeah. Okay.
Cute one. Okay.
Nice one. Yes.
So, okay, Krishna, I hear you that a doctor has been advising you for a morning walk.
Right.
And the challenge is you're not able to keep up the schedule.
Right.
And you intend to sustain the habit.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, that my intent and my goal is to have a habit that's sustainable, the walking habit to be sustainable. It happened, got into that, but then it never sustained.
So what is your goal?
So my goal is to figure out how I can, see, but then when I talk about walking, I must tell you something, that it is, the doctor has advised walking, but it can be any, when I clarified with the doctor, it can be any kind of mild exercise. The doctor says don't go and do, heavy gymming.
Okay.
But if you did, a kind of yoga or something like that would also be okay. You could take up any mild sport, is also okay.
Okay. So do I have your permission to ask few questions?
Sure, you do. Can ask.
Thanks for that. And whatever we talking will remain confidential. And my intention is to support you in whatever you want to achieve.
Okay, good.
Right? So how much time do we have now?
Maybe another 15 minutes.
Okay. So what is the best use of our 15 minutes? What would you like to accomplish by the end of this 15 minutes?
So let's say if we can get into this conversation and then we talk about how we can, what is it that I can do to create a sustainable habit of getting a mild exercise. What can I do that will propel me to create a habit within myself?
I hear you. Okay. So what would you achieve by having mild exercise?
Well, see, fundamentally it's a matter of toning up my health.
Okay.
Because I have a diabetic condition, and therefore the exercise becomes very essential to ensure that as I grow and grow older, then I have I age healthy. So my overriding goal would be to actually age healthy. So the whole idea of having the mild exercise is to ensure that for as long as I live, I am active and healthy.
Good. So I should acknowledge you, Krishna, for this positive outlook. Many people may approach it differently, but I like your positive approach towards this lifestyle condition that has come to you. And also I like the way you articulated that you want to age healthy. So that's the goal that you set for yourself?
Yes, so healthy aging is the goal.
So the mild exercise is connected to that?
Correct.
Okay. Good. So what are the options do you have to accomplish this goal?
So, like I said, before, it can be, typically walking is what the doctor advises as a very typical form of mild exercise. It could be yoga, or it could be, combination of jogging, walking, or some kind of sport, mild sport. Not wild, but mild. Right?
Not rock climbing.
Not rock climbing, rappelling, or not bungee jumping, not even getting into it's not even recommended medically, though the doctor does not say it explicitly, but I hear that even something like training for a marathon or something may not be so helpful for its obvious side effects. But yeah, something,
So let's do one thing. If you're okay, let's narrow down options which are workable for you. What are those options that comes to your mind?
What options come to my mind?
Which could work in your situation?
For a mild exercise. So one could obviously be to get out and go for a walk. The other is to go and get some yoga done. Either get an instructor home, because then someone is, I'm paying someone to come in and knock on my door.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, the other alternative is to go and join a gym. But going by the experience of a lot of people who have joined a gym, that you pay the fee and you probably go there, experience the pain for a couple of weeks, and that's about where it goes. Because you still have to pull yourself out of bed and early morning, and I'm not so much of a morning person.
Let me remind you, options which could work for you.
So, yeah, right. So gym is not, though that could also give me some mild exercise. But yeah, getting a yoga instructor could be a workable. But then again, walking I have tried, but I need someone to actually come and knock on my door, and that's not very sustainable. So it would seem actually, when you look at it, maybe getting a yoga instructor is perhaps something that I have not thought of.
Okay, good. What else?
What else? Yeah, you were talking about, what is workable. And I was talking about if there is a pressure of someone coming and knocking on my door, but it need not only be somebody knocking on my door, but if there is a bunch of people who I can join, because you have, there could be a team sport typically, typically say for example, if morning you go out and want to play badminton, you have people who you need to partner with someone, and there's someone waiting there. Could be another thing.
Okay.
So I could typically get out, go to the club and play badminton. But yeah, that was my intent when I took the membership and things like that, but it never happened, and I forgot about it very happily till this conversation, to be very honest.
Good. So you could explore that.
Yeah, so that's another thing that I could explore. Give it a try, but I think the yoga thing is probably has a better chance of success because there is somebody who's knocking on the door, and hopefully beyond a point it will become a habit.
And since we know each other for some time, allow me to share some observations that I have about you. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I see you as someone who loves variety and who excels in accomplishing or achieving something.
Right.
That you said for yourself.
Right.
How would these two observations about you help you?
No, you're absolutely bang on that. I like if there is a goal and I have to push for a goal, then I kind of get it excites me. And yes, I love variety. Routine is something that I don't like. So I would never have made a good guy in the army, right? Right. So yeah, which is why I'm in human resources, because people are so different. But that said, how will that help me now? That was what you had actually, that's what we were talking about. So now, what would it do? See, if I were to get something where I can actually get a goal set, typically that can be related to the diabetic condition, and say that by this time I want to have a sugar level that's consistently so much over a period of time. That could be something, but yeah, I actually never thought of setting a goal like that. Right? I mean, I've talked about it. To be very honest, I said I want to get down to a normal level, but I don't know what goal. So I've never put it down. So I could actually put it down in my...
So how do you control your sugar level currently?
So typically what? I mean, there's medication, there is a little bit of diet, but that's about it.
With your permission, may I challenge you on 2 counts? How about going medication-free lifestyle, still able to control your diabetes, sugar level?
See, as far as I know, that's a kind of very, very tough goal to achieve. Not impossible. I know people who've done it, but it's very difficult. And more so, to do it, we need
medically difficult?
Medically possible, but the amount of discipline that it takes, and especially the exercise. Doctors have said that you could go medication free. That's what they have said. People can, with my condition, can go medication free, but it takes tremendous amount of discipline to just get out and get regular about exercise. And of course, there are things beyond medication, lots of remedies that you can look at which kind of bring down your sugar levels, like, there are a lot of home remedies, there's antioxidant treatments, supplementation, naturopathy and all of that. All that can be tried, but the root of it, the doctor says that you got to go and get the exercise, which is why I'm really focusing on that. Which is why I'm so concerned about getting the exercise, because it seems medically that exercise is the absolute top #1 priority. So which is why I make that as a priority over a host of things.
So you earlier mentioned that your goal is to age healthy.
Right.
Do you have any role model in your mind?
Yeah, my own father, he's quite old and then he's pretty healthy. In fact, of course, he's fortunate that he's got no diabetes, but my mother has, which is what I've inherited. Right. But at another level, see, the point is, the hallmark of that has been that, yeah, of course, he's kind of probably genetically made that way, that he is slim. I am obese, in contrast. More taken probably on the maternal side. But then the point over here is that he is a role model. Yes, to answer your question. For a healthy person, he's past 80 and then he's absolutely hale, hearty and fit.
So I also heard you say there are things beyond your control that your role model is possessed or gifted with.
Probably, that's where I'm surmising. It's just a surmise.
What are the things
it's my assumption.
within his control that he's doing to age healthy?
See, the one thing that I see there is, of course, the diet. He's pretty strict about his diet. He's pretty strict about certain things in life. For the time he's up, the time that he's off to bed, and all those things. But so those are things that I can pretty easily associate with. My diet is kind of regulated, my medication is regulated, but the missing piece seems to be the exercise.
Okay. So how committed are you to this goal of aging healthy? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being highly committed, you give everything that you have to get that goal accomplished?
See, at this point in time, there are two things. One is where my head is. I know it's important. Okay. Now, when rubber hits the road, right, in the morning when my alarm rings, right,
Okay.
then what I know does not match with what I do.
There's a knowing doing gap.
Yeah.
Now that you have that awareness about yourself and you also acknowledge it, how do you take it to the next level of doing something about it?
So I think, see, the point is, like I said, it's the important, I think the real insight that I've got here is that if I get someone to actually come and knock on my door for the yoga, I will probably see, the thing what happened with my walking was that it didn't go on long enough. But what I also observed as this thing is that I got up pretty much on my own. But it's just that it was an inertia of getting out.
Okay.
So a yoga instructor will hopefully do that, but then what I also intend to do is that then migrate myself onto a yoga class.
Okay. Okay.
I think that's what I could. You talked about workable solutions. The thoughts that are crossing my head right now is that if I did that between these two,
Good.
because I know for a fact that if I enroll in a yoga class, I may not go. Good. I know myself. I've tried that before with gyms, all of that. So I know those things don't work for me. So I'm not even getting there. But then the question that you asked was really the question that you got me to kind of pull me back onto was what will work. Right? That was your key question.
Good. So the metaphor that comes to my mind as you speak is you are in a driving seat. Your engine is running. Your car, there's a fog all around you. You have limited visibility.
Right.
So you don't go on a 60-80 speed.
Right.
You measure your speed.
Right.
You go 5 feet at a time.
Right. Yes.
So that you know what's ahead of you.
Right.
So that's how I'm seeing you right now.
Right.
Being a bit cautious at the same time.
No, I move forward. Yes. I want to move forward. I see the visibility now compared to what it was before. See, it was a problem. It was there. It was hurting. But this is like, you're sitting in a very uncomfortable seat, but you're not willing to shift your seat.
Okay.
It's comfortable. It's not uncomfortable. There's no nail on your backside, so you're not jumping up. But at the same time, it's not so comfortable that you can relax. So that was the situation. But today, I think I've kind of shifted from this uncomfortable seat to say that I will do something about it.
You need to hit the accelerator?
Yeah, that's where I am right now. So there's clarity in terms of
what's your next step now?
So in the next, maybe, to be very honest, the next maybe two weeks, I expect that I would probably have someone knocking on the door in the morning, getting me to
Where do you go? Good.
practice on the yoga. So therefore that, and this other element about variety and goal that you talked about actually helps me. I'm also going to put a target on my sugar level to come down. Maybe not, because I've never thought about it. I've always thought, let me have my normal levels. And the doctor has been saying you should get it to normal levels, you should get it to, but we never defined a normal level. And when I look back on my corporate experience, it's always important to put down a number goal, a measurable goal. So therefore it's going to be that. Second takeaway. The third takeaway is also going to be that probably the yoga is going to excite me because I've never learned that. So it's a new thing to learn. So that is another insight that's going to kind of...
Very good. So what support do you need or what support do you have currently to make this happen?
I think if I kind of get this goal written down somewhere, pretty visible, put it up somewhere, and I know that my wife is looking at it, and and more than that, the kids are going to look at it. So there's somebody else who's looking at it and talking about it to me, right? And I know that I kind of. So there is a lot of other, oftentimes see what I notice is that I do acknowledge that it kind of doesn't sound so flattering when you say someone else looks at it and looks, but that's the way it works for me. So be it.
Sure. Good. So how do you summarize this conversation? What are the key takeaways for you?
So yeah, I think the key takeaway is that if you really look at it, it's clarity for me. But then the funny thing compared to what we did a little earlier was that actually you got me to do most of the talking. Right.
That's what coaching conversation does for you. So there is an unwritten rule of 80-20. The client talks 80% of the time. Coach utilizes the 20% to do three things. One, to listen carefully, right? Ask powerful questions and be present with the client all the time. And there are places where opportunities would emerge to challenge the client, push the client a little forward, so that they go to a place which is uncomfortable, which they may not otherwise explore on their own. So that's what coaching conversation all about.
Right. So you are taking me out of my zone of comfort.
You were willing to do that, and I should acknowledge you for your openness and willingness. So always I believe that coaching cannot be done to someone. Right? There should be equal willingness from the other side as well. So like in Zen philosophy, they say there is no one hand clapping.
Right.
Coaching conversation is all about chemistry.
It's all about a two-way conversation.
Client should trust the coach, and coach should have the trust on client's ability to resolve things on his own. Only then the monkey stays with you, right?
Ah, I see. Good, that's why you pass the monkey back to me, is it?
That's right.
Okay.
So, where do we go from here?
So good, I think that was a nice, trailer of what coaching can do, right?
Right, and beautifully it works in personal settings as well. I have an 8-year-old daughter, Manaswini. She comes to me with some problem. Daddy, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. I take a leaf from Timothy Galloway's book, The Inner Game of Tennis, where he narrates a similar situation, where he tries to use a coaching approach to help the kid to learn how to solve problems on her own. I tried that in my life as well. It works wonderfully.
Really? Okay.
So every time you teach a person or you give a fish to a person, the person becomes dependent on you.
Right.
You teach a person how to fish. It's a skill for their lifetime.
Right. So if you be a coach, then you're saying that you could also use that in your personal life, even with kids.
Yes.
A personal situation we just saw, but
right. Kids are wonderful coaches. They don't have any judgment. They don't have any skepticism. They come with open mind. They believe that you have good intentions for them.
Right.
And as a parent, it's easier to get into a coaching conversation with your kids, and you will realize you start enjoying those conversations.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of parents out there having teenage sons and daughters might want to try this. And I have got great feedback from my colleagues who have teenage daughters and sons who try coaching approach, and it really works for them.
Yeah, I can kind of understand that, because oftentimes teenagers don't want to be told what.
Exactly.
Right. So from this conversation, it looks like it's a process of self-discovery.
That's right.
So it can help there too, right? So what you say is that to be a good coach, to be a good coachee, you need to have an open mind and to also be willing to explore your inhibitions or your hang-ups.
And also there is a method to this entire conversation technique. If I have to summarize in a 4-step process, GROW, the mnemonic that you may want to remember.
I see. GROW.
G stands for goal setting. So what is it you would like to accomplish in this conversation?
Yeah, you asked me that question.
What is the best use of our 15 minutes?
Right.
Yes. That's a goal setting.
Right.
So you ask 3 times, dig deeper to identify what is the client want to achieve.
Right.
Then you go to reality.
Right.
So what is stopping you from achieving this goal now?
Yeah.
Obviously there is an obstacle that is stopping you.
Right. Yes.
Have questions around that.
Yes.
Reality check.
Right.
Then go to options. What options emerge for you?
Yeah, you talked about realistic workable options.
Yes. So narrow it down and then ask the client what is the way forward.
Yeah. So you asked me that what would you do now? Yeah. So I committed to something which I said in the next 2 weeks I should have the right. Yeah.
And also W stands for willingness to commit to the plan of action.
Right.
So I asked you how committed are you on a scale of 1 to 10.
Right. Yes.
Right. So in the entire process, always seek permission from the other person to ask questions.
Right.
Otherwise, it will sound as if you're interrogating the other person, and why should I answer?
Correct. Yes.
And another rule to remember: avoid why questions.
Right. Yes.
The more you avoid, you get better open-ended, expanding responses.
Yeah. So from all this, the grow model is very well. So that means, do I have to just apply this on my own? But let me ask you. So can I be a good coach in my own company, in my corporate situation, in my life situation, on my own, or is there a way that I can actually? Is there a science and a method to understanding this technique?
There are a lot of training institutions who offer this skill development. Coaching is basically a skill. right? You need to practice. You need to practice under supervision, and then you grow into the third stage of competence of conscious competence, right? And then you start practicing it more to gain mastery in this skill.
Right.
So training institutions could help you. You can find them on internet, or you can go to coachfederation.org, which is ICF's official website, to find the listing of all the training institutions.
So is there some kind of a course accredited or a certification in this kind of an area?
Yes. So
or are there certifications?
Yes, there are. So as I said, the training institutions would give you a certificate that you have attended the program.
Right.
And there are few more steps for you to get credentialed.
Right.
Right. ICF is an international body which credentials individuals for being committed to the journey of being a coach.
Right.
So after training, you have to practice certain number of hours, right? And then you have to get mentored under a credentialed coach and submit 1 or 2 audio recordings of coaching conversations, right? Depending on the level that you are applying for.
Right.
Pay the prescribed fee. There could be a written exam for a level like PCC. For an entry level ACC, Associate Certified Coach, there is no written exam. For a professional certified coach, currently there is a written exam, which is like a multiple choice online exam.
So effectively what you're saying is that there is an international body that is certifying coaches, and that there is a process to it which involves knowledge and practice, supervised practice.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So coaches get coached.
Exactly, that's right.
Right?
Everyone is coached.
And you're saying that there is it's a practice that it's a science, it's an art that you need to practice.
It's an art and a science.
So if I want a good coach, then I should look for people who have gone through this process of certification with ICF. So thanks a lot, Bhaskar. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
No,
I wish all of you a wonderful experience of integrating coaching as a way of life. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us, and really wonderful.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you so much.